Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another video, guys. In today's video, this is going to be my full, entire, in-depth review of DLC 1, or in this case, Expansion 1, of Back 4 Blood called Tunnels of Terrors. The update came out just a little over 1 week ago, and I wanted to give my official breakdown, everything that I do like and don't like about the update, so we can answer the question that you're all probably wondering, which is going to be, is this worth my money? Now, I do want to mention just two things really quickly. Is that number one is that when it comes to this is going to be my opinion. So if you happen to have a different opinion than mine, please, by all means, feel free to share it down below in the comments. I really like to see what you guys have to say, and we can have a friendly debate about what is good and bad in this update. Second of all, this is going to be mostly my first impressions of the update, and rather not a full in-depth review of everything, because I have not used everything within the update, so I will only be talking about the things that I have used or experienced personally. We'll be taking a look at all the good stuff that is in the update first, and then we will conclude with all the bad stuff. So if you guys want to scroll around in the video, by all means, you can end up looking around. However, though, I do recommend that you stay till the very end and take a look at everything. So with that being said, my friends, let's start off with all the good stuff that is in DLC 1 of Back 4 Blood. Number 1, Ridden Hives. Ridden Hives are one of the best additions that we have seen to the game thus far. This is really fun to play. This is extremely fun to play. The Ridden Hives in Back 4 Blood feel like the equivalent of a Destiny raid. They are big, they are long, they are chaotic, they're just a whole bunch of enemies, secrets, and just tons of cool weapons that you can find in this entire just giant maze of zombies. The best part about this too is that this is just in the base game. You can find these whenever you want, and they're optional, which means that if you don't want to play against them, you don't have to. So no matter what difficulty you're playing on, what map you're playing on, or even what part of the map you are on, the Ridden Hives will just sometimes randomly spawn, and if you want to use one, all you have to do is have you and everybody in your party stand on it for a certain period of time, and then you will be loaded into it as if it's its own new map. In total, I believe that there is going to be 7 Ridden Hives throughout the entire game, and these are completely random, like I said, so no map is going to have a specific Ridden Hive that you can grind, for example. So if you want to end up finding any of the secrets or a specific wonder weapon, or if you just genuinely like one of the Ridden Hives the most out of all the other ones, you will have to get lucky. Now, within these Ridden Hives, one of the best things about them is all the cool weapons you can find down here. Some of them are, but are not limited to, the fact that you can end up finding custom variants of already existing guns. From what I've seen, these guns don't have any attachments, however, though, they are just completely just armored to the teeth with just stat boosts. There's mythical, like, Call of Duty zombies types of wonder weapons you can find, such as laser guns, which you would never expect to find in this type of game. And there's even cool melee weapons such as this really epic gravity hammer that almost seems like it's from Halo, and then of course going to be the skull totems, which are going to not only be a melee weapon, but is also a currency, which we'll get into in just a second here. Ridden Hives have tons of bosses, tons of cool stages. They are overall feeling very, very satisfying to play. There is no reason why you shouldn't do these when you're playing your normal Back 4 Blood sessions. They give you extremely good loot that you can carry over to the overworld, might I add. You can also end up being able to end up boosting your stats significantly so, because you're basically going to have the opportunity to find all these really good upgrades and proficiencies, attachments, and just overall make your team feel stacked. And finally, they're just fun. They're solely and utterly and amazingly fun. I have never had more fun playing a zombie game in recent memory in a long time. This is extremely big for a zombies game. This is something that you would normally not see because, like I said, this feels like a Destiny type level raid. This is insane. There's loot everywhere. There's bosses everywhere. It is pure nuts. There's also replay value in them because the golden trophies that were linked to the achievements that were in the original base game are now brought back in here, and you can start collecting some new ones again in order to get another achievement. Overall, the Ridden Hives are the absolute best part of the update. This is something that I was not expecting to be that good. I thought they were maybe going to get like one Ridden Hive, and I thought that was going to be its own separate game mode, making so that way you have to end up having full lobbies, and it wouldn't be fun unless you had full lobbies because it would be extremely hard and it would like be difficult to play solo. But no, it is actually extremely fun to play solo or multiplayer, and it's not that hard despite all the bosses everywhere because the wonder weapons essentially make up for it. And overall, this is something that is going to be so replayable that this is at the current moment in time the most fun thing to do in the entire game. Number 2, characters. The new characters in the game are really fun, especially my personal favorite of the two, which is going to be Charisse. Charisse specifically is an amazing character. And I say this because not only does she end up having great stats, but I also just overall like her as a character. Now, when it comes to the Back 4 Blood characters, I really think that they're not necessarily perfect. They do have some flaws, and I do not like all of them. For example, Jim is the equivalent of Rochelle in this game, so I don't really care for everybody. However, though, with that being said, I think that Charisse is one of the best characters in this game because she reminds me a lot of Coach from Left 4 Dead 2. She seems like a very cool, independent, sassy, and snarky, but still really chill and laid back, just badass black woman. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Charisse's backstory and her theme is that she used to be a fighter. So for her fighter character background, she ends up having a lot of stories that she recites about it. Her dialogue makes her be able to like interact with the characters in such a way that makes it feel like she's a like leader type of figure, and it can be really fun to play in that role as well. She actually looks really cool, and her cosmetics seem really appealing. I really want to try to grind all of her skins that are currently in the game right now. And finally, she's just basically overpowered, I'm just going to be honest, because one of the defining factors about her that makes her so good is her armor ability. So Charisse has this ability where she can end up finding just scrapped loot that is lying around the map from basically just like decomposing Ridden, and she can use it to end up making armor for herself. This is huge because it makes it so that way she is a self-sustaining character essentially, because the only medical based character that is in the game currently is Doc. Charisse is a very valuable substitute character to Doc because of the fact that she can keep herself alive and her team alive pretty much by just playing the game naturally. Overall, Charisse is one of my favorite characters that is in the game as it stands right now. Now, when it comes to Hang, however, though, he's not my personal favorite. I can find him a little bit boring at times, but he's still good, and everyone can end up having their favorites in the game. Number 3, cosmetics. The cosmetics in the brand new update are incredible. I love the way that they look, they fit the characters, and plus, you can end up earning them in a really cool way. Remember how I mentioned the skull totems earlier in the video, those like cool spiky like melee weapons that you can end up finding in the Ridden Hives? Well, my friends, those are actually another currency that is in the game. So what happens is that there are 3 in total in a Ridden Hive, and what happens is that if you collect them, not only do they become a melee weapon, but if you take them to the very exit of the Ridden Hive with you, if you take them back to Fort Hope, you can redeem them as a currency, which means that if you want to get any of the new stuff, you have to bring this with you. Now, this is cool because what this does is 2 incredible things. That number 1 is that if you have not completed all the base content of the game, like if you still need to grind the original supply lines and stuff like that, this currency system allows you to be able to earn these separately. So for example, you can earn the credits in this game alongside the skull totems, which means that if you want to, you can redeem both the new content and the old content at the same time. You don't have to focus on one, complete it, and then move back over to the other stuff, or like, stay on the old stuff and then move on to the new stuff. You can just get them at the exact same time, which saves you time and energy. The other thing I like about this is that it reinforces people to go into these Ridden Hives. Because hypothetically, since they are optional, there's nothing stopping you and your team from just ignoring them and then never touching them. But however though, if you want to get all the new stuff, you must collect these totems, which the only way you can do that is to do these hives. So it forces players to explore the new content and find something that they might have not enjoyed otherwise. Now, even though the cosmetics do have a little bit of repeats here and there, such as with the weapon skins and how that there's like kind of like 6 for everything, I think that they are good weapon skins, and even though that they're limited, it's better to have a few limited like really good skins than it is to end up having a lot of just kind of mediocre or bad skins. Pretty sure the last thing that anybody wants is Dust Camo 2.0. And finally, for the good, gameplay. The gameplay in the brand new update is amazing. It is seamless. It feels like it flows naturally. It doesn't feel jarring. It doesn't feel like a forced update. Even though this update took so damn long, and we will explain about how that it could have been a lot sooner in my opinion in the bad section later on in this video, this update was still at the end of the day worth the wait. The gameplay feels proper. It doesn't feel buggy. It doesn't feel glitchy. The update just simply was not rushed. Now, it can lead to where the game ends up having dry spells, but overall, this update feels like a genuinely good, sufficient update for the game, and I love that. When it comes to Back 4 Blood, I feel like a lot of people don't think it's necessarily truly a bad game for those that play it. I think that a lot of the current fan base is just mostly bored because they already have done everything. So what it was is that we were just kind of waiting for content to drop, and now that it finally has dropped, the game feels so fun to play. Overall, for all the things that are in this game that Turtle Rock did right, they did really right. I really think that the update excels in a lot of great things, but however though, due to the fact that I do have to end up showing off the bad stuff of the video, it's not going to be a perfect update. Now that being said, let's get on with everything that is bad about this update. Number 1, release date. Turtle Rock, even though I do end up thinking that this update is incredible, and I just said that I do believe it was worth the wait, I do have to say one caveat to that, is that I don't know why, but for some reason I feel like that you could have released this update quicker. Now, it might sound like I'm trying to trap Turtle Rock with what I'm saying here about like, oh, well, I liked the update and it was fun, but you should have released it quicker. And if you also do release it quicker, you also shouldn't still have any bugs or glitches in it, even though that can typically happen when you release it quicker. I'm not trying to do that. I know that that sounds kind of like exactly what I'm saying here, but I promise it's not. I am just simply saying is that regardless of how big any update may be, there should have been more updates overall for the game before this giant update in general. Because ever since release, the only updates that draw a significant, pop-up in my mind, other than this one, is going to be essentially the Valentine's Day update, and even then when that happened, all it was really just double supply points. Because here's the thing, is that patches and hotfixes do not count as content, no matter what you say. I am sorry, but they are not. Patching your game is not content because nothing is being added to the game. All you're doing is just changing the statistics of everything that's already existing in the game, which is stuff that we have seen before. A lot of games do this, and it kind of gets on my nerves, and I understand that not every game studio can adapt to the Fortnite level type of updates that exist as a standard now. But really what I'm asking, my friends, is I just wish we would have gotten at least something more before this update came out. Like one big mini update. It could have been something simple as like adding in one new gun, or it could have been something as like, for example, adding in just like, I don't know, like 5 brand new cards, something like that. Something like a little bit more than just statistics, because that keeps the game interesting and it does change the game more than you realize. Gaming is a business as much as it is a hobby, and these game companies know this. Now, when it comes to game companies, they also have to compete with competition, and competition, yes, usually breeds success. Now, that being said, though, even though that is the case, when it comes to competition as well, if you're not keeping up with the competition, and they're just simply releasing more and more interesting overall content before you, people are going to eventually move on to that company and kind of leave yours just like kind of off to the side, or might not even go back to it at all. Turtle Rock only has 2 more giant expansions before their yearly pass thing ends, because the way that the DLC works is that it's yearly right now, so since the game came out in October, the last update needs to come out by at least October. Now when it comes to the second one, I am hoping that they will shoot for sometime in June or July, because that'd be about like 3 months from now, out of like the remainder of the time that's left in the game, because I really sincerely just do not want to wait several months again for just a decent update to come out for the game, because by then I'm going to be moving on to another game just to be able to pass the time until they end up adding stuff. Number 2, why did we not get a new map? Like, I understand that not every update is going to end up having like one of everything, but out of all things, no new map? Why? Like, I understand that the Ridden Hives are supposed to be like the new map because they're just scattered around the place, sure, but when you combine all of them, if you were to play these back to back to back to back, this is kind of like one mini campaign. There's a lot of substance here with these Ridden Hives. But the thing is, though, is that they're not a new map. I really wanted to end up seeing a brand new map, some whole new location that we could end up playing on with brand new storyline, brand new plot narrative, almost kind of like a second campaign, if you will, even if it was small. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. I'm worried that all the campaigns are just going to be stockpiled for like one giant hoorah at the very end of the season, and I do not want to end up having that happen, because what's going to end up happening is that if you do that, all the maps have to compete with each other. I can imagine people right now saying like, oh, I want to play on this map, but I won't want to play on this map just because this map sucks and this one's great, even though they're both really good maps and people just have their personal preferences. And it's going to end up making it where people just can't agree, and instead it's going to lead into problems. Now, I get if they are trying to do a giant, like, campaign, again, like how they have with the base story with all the acts and stuff like that, but I just think that if you do that at the very end of the life cycle of the game, even if you end up doing a year 2, a lot of people after 1 year are probably going to end up leaving the game. Not because it's a bad game necessarily, but usually when people end up playing a game, about after a year, they pretty much have gotten their fix. So if you end up adding in a whole new campaign, you might be counting on people joining back, but in reality what it does is that it just only incentivizes the players that were already playing the game to begin with to play it. Number 3, no new game modes. Why is it that in Back 4 Blood's new update did we not get another game mode? We're still stuck with normal campaign and the crappy versus that is still in the game the way it was when it first launched. Basically, in other words, we only have had one game mode since the launch of the game. There's not been any version of survival, there has not been any version of scavenge, there's not been any cool mutations modes. All that there is in the game as it currently stands is just the bad versus mode and the normal campaign. And the difficulty slider does not count, by the way, as a new game mode. That is just simply game mode difficulty. I really hope that with the next update, or even an update in between this update and expansion 2, that they add in another game mode. I would love, love, love to get a survival mode in the game, or maybe even a traditional versus, but at the very least, give me something, dude. Please, 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 Turtle Rock, if you hear this video, if you see this video, please answer my prayers and just give us a new game mode. Even if it sucks, I just at least want to be able to say that there's a new game mode that I can at least attempt to play. Well, actually, I don't want the game modes to suck. If you're gonna release a bad game mode, Turtle Rock, then just wait. But when it comes to game modes, please, at least something, even if it's like little, I would just love to see another game mode. So, Turtle Rock, whatever you got, like, brewing back at your headquarters, please end up making it where it can be released sometime in the near future. The original campaign will get boring after a while, and I'm not gonna play Versus to satisfy that need to play something different. Number 4, Special Infected. Now, when it comes to the Special Infected in this game, they are okay. They're not the best, but they're at least are okay. They've had a lot of complications over the last several months, but they have gotten better. Now, when it comes to the new Special Infected, if you can even really call them new, when it comes to them in Back 4 Blood's DLC, I really just don't care for them. The main reason why is just because essentially they're just carbon copies of the originals. If you take a look at the Special Infected side by side, notice how that they're extremely similar. It's like one has like a wart on his face, and then the other one's got like spikes coming out of his face. I mean, like, they're really not that different from each other. They're essentially the exact same model with just a new coat of paint, and it makes it feel boring. I don't understand how that it could end up being so difficult to just make a brand new Special Infected model for these new Special Infected, because all their abilities are different, but they look the same. And that can end up leading to confusion as well, because now I have to keep track of not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different identical looking Special Infected for 3 of the existing ones in the entire game. It was already crazy trying to remember all the different versions of the same exact Special Infected with the Tall Boy and the Crusher and the Bruiser and the Stalker and the Hawker and all that stuff. But why is it that now we have another brand new set of Special Infected and they look identical to the originals? Ladies and gentlemen, this is our brand new Special Infected. It's going to be the Tall Boy, except that he's got a pine needle dick. The Special Infected aren't necessarily bad, they're just confusing and they're also lackluster in my opinion. I'm more rather disappointed than anything. When it comes to the Special Infected Turtle Rock in the future, please give them different viewing models, because even though, yes, I know that they've got different callouts by the characters, and they look slightly different enough, and I understand that it might be a lot of money to end up trying to make a whole new infected model, but please, please, please make a new one, because it's so confusing to have to, like, clarify to my friends all the different Tall Boys, all the different Hawkers, all the different Greekers, everything. It's just too much, man. I feel like that I'm trying to do an algebra test trying to play the game. And breathe. Okay, so with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for my review of the Back 4 Blood first DLC, Tunnels of Terrors. Now, I understand that, once again, that some of you may be possibly wondering what's my thoughts on the No Hope mode, or the brand new cards, and stuff like that. But like I said, this is going to be a first impressions video more rather than everything, because I've not played everything in the entire game, but I will get around to making content on those things eventually in the near future if you guys want to see it. So if you want to see it, then make sure you definitely drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you want to see it, because I'd be more than happy to make some videos on it in the near future. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you end up enjoying today's video. Just once again, if you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, subscribe to show your guys' support. If you'd like to financially support the channel, I tremendously appreciate you guys could go check out my Patreon. It's always linked down below in all my YouTube video descriptions. Or you guys could use supporter creator code BlackNinja797 in all caps in the Fortnite Epic Games item shops, because Epic is my very first sponsor, and they're sponsoring today's video, so shout out to Epic Games. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video for the most unique YouTubers are ever going to see. Thank you for watching, guys. I love you, and peace out.
Hey meme lords, Jesus here, and you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too, and give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!